on swag.
Okay, wait, very excited.
I already started, just saying.
Okay, ready, go.
你们好，我的名字是黄慧婷。今天我会跟你们讲我的 senior project 是什么。Hello, my name is Alan Wong, and today I'm going to talk about my senior project. For my senior project, I decided to learn Chinese. Now, why learn Chinese? I decided to learn Chinese because I felt like I was drifting away from my culture and my grandparents. Growing up in America, I felt like I was in the American culture like most of my life. Even though I eat Chinese food at home with rice and vegetables and stuff, I felt like I wasn't really connected with my culture. So I decided to learn Chinese to get back in touch with it. And I felt like I needed to bond with my grandparents because I never really see my grandparents. Last time I saw them was about 2 years ago when we went to Destin, which was really fun. But since then, I felt like I've really drifted away from them. So for my research paper, I decided to talk about the importance of second-generation immigrants staying true to their native culture. I argued that it was important for second-generation immigrants to learn the native culture of their parents because it's necessary to keep America diverse. And if we didn't, then America would be culturally uniform with a single culture of Americans, and that's not really great. And so I just argued that we need to keep America diverse, and then we'd be a unified, awesome culture. So this is my mentor. His name is Bing Zhang, which in Chinese is Zhang Bing. So he guided me throughout my whole process. He taught me everything that I pretty much learned, and we met once every other Sunday after church. And we met a total of 10 times, and he constantly encouraged me to keep on going. And he was a great mentor, and I really appreciate him. So this is a picture of our first meeting. I learned how to write basic words like I'm student and fruit. And it was a little weird because Chinese does not have a fixed alphabet. They have separate characters for different words. And it was hard for me to grasp that because I'm used to writing letters, and 26 letters in one alphabet, but this was really different. And this is a picture of our second meeting. It was pretty much the same as the first meeting where I learned a few more characters, but I also worked with paint because my mentor, he was an artist when he was in China, and he taught art. And with this experience, I learned how to properly write strokes and how to ease up when writing to make it better, and it was great. And this is a picture of me working on my homework. I got homework after every lesson, and I worked on it pretty much every weekend, once every weekend, because school took up most of my time during the weekdays. So this is just me working on my homework. And this is a picture of me working on my first letter. For my project, I decided to write letters to my grandparents. And so this was my first letter, and it was a frustrating experience. It was difficult for me to grasp that I want everything to be perfect because I'm a terrible perfectionist. And I wanted every single character to be correct. And my mom would help me write my letter. And the picture on your left is my mentor's guide. At my meeting, we worked on what to write, and then I used that as a guide. And then my mom helped me write my letter. But it was really bad because I wanted to write every single character perfectly, but then my mom told me not to worry about it so much. And in the end, it turned out not too great because some of my characters were too far apart and too close, and then some of them were really ugly, as you can tell. But it wasn't that bad, because after that, I got a response from my grandfather, which is 20 times longer than that. But this was great because it meant that he could read my first letter, which meant that it wasn't too bad. But in the letter he encouraged me to keep on going, and he mentioned how he was proud of me for learning Chinese and made me feel good inside. And then these are pictures of guides for my second letter. I worked on it again with my mentor, and my mom and I edited it, and we worked on it and changed up the ending a little bit. So this is the picture of the final product for my second letter. It's a little longer, as you can tell, 2 paragraphs, and in it I mentioned how I was learning to drive and how I missed them a lot, and yeah, it was great. Sadly, my grandfather wasn't able to write a response because he was going through some tough times. He went through surgery because he's kind of a little sick, but yeah, it's okay. And so this is, for my community aspect, I decided to write out and give greeting cards to people at my church. So I spent a Saturday, 6 hours writing greeting cards, and it was pretty great. In the end, I wrote 10 greeting cards, and as you can see from this slide, they turned out pretty good, pretty colorful. And so with with my community aspect, I gave a speech to people at my church and talked about the importance of learning Chinese culture and to keep America diverse. And they were really happy and excited about getting some greeting cards. And then, so I got some nice feedback from them. They told me how to give a better speech and talk louder because it was crazy in there. Church, people were talking really loudly and I'm not very good at public speaking. But they told me to keep eye contact. But I got some pretty good responses. They were really proud of me for learning Chinese. And they told me to keep on going. So yeah, I plan to do that. So for my third letter, I wasn't able to meet with my mentor because he has a really busy work schedule. And so we had scheduling conflicts, but it was okay because I worked on my third letter. So first I wrote my third letter in English and then translated it to Chinese. So some stuff that I used for guys for my third letter were Google Translate to help me a little bit. And my mom and dad helped me a lot, definitely with my third letter. And I also used some of my own notes for my lessons. So this is a picture of my dad and I working together. So that was just me, typical. And then this is the final product, my third and final letter to my grandparents. As you can see, it's 4 paragraphs, which is really good. A huge improvement. And in it I mentioned how I talked about school and how I was going to graduate soon, and I mentioned missing them really much, a lot, and it was really good. So some stuff that I would like to redo, like I wish that I had spent more time practicing, because as senior project went on, I felt like I was forgetting a lot of what I was learning, which I did want, but I wish I had spent more time practicing, and I wish I had learned more words. There's so many words in the world, it's hard to learn them all, but I really wish I had learned more. And I wish I had written more letters to my grandparents because they really made me feel good. After every letter, I felt really accomplished, and I felt a warmth inside my heart. And I wish I had worked more with paints because it was really fun. I got a little messy, but that's fun. It's fine. And I wish I had done more with what I learned instead of just writing letters and greeting cards. I wish I had worked with calendars, but time is a huge issue. But, yeah. So, in conclusion, I learned how to write Chinese, obviously, and I really bonded with my grandparents, which is really what I wanted to do because I felt like it was getting pretty distant between me and my grandparents, so I just wanted to reconnect with them. And through this senior project, I really did. And I learned to appreciate my mom and dad a lot more because my mom cooks for me like all the time, but through this experience, they worked with me so much, and I'm really thankful for them. And my mentor, Mr. Bing Zhang, was great, and it was a good experience. So now for the future, I plan to keep on learning Chinese. Maybe I'll take it in college, hopefully, and I plan to hopefully write more letters to my grandparents because it was fun, even though it was hard at times, but I really want to do it again. So some people that I need to thank, Ying Zhang, my mentor, who's great throughout this whole process, guided me and worked with me so much. My parents definitely, because they helped me with my third letter, and my first and second letters too. And Ms. Gasperecz for helping me with the forms and paperwork and getting through the senior project process, and especially you, the judges, for your time. And thank you for your time. Xie xie.
8:22.
8 what?
8:22.
What is hard about writing Chinese? Like, I mean, I understand it's incredibly complicated. I understand it's incredibly complicated, but like, you said that your mother and I think your father helped you in writing those letters. How exactly did they help you, and what did you feel like you were lacking?
Okay, so in writing Chinese, there are different strokes, and there is a specific order to write them. So usually I would forget how to write them, and sometimes the spacing would be correct, so they would help me, and they would help me with the strokes. They would write it first, and I would try to follow them, and I would learn that way. So,
What's your outfit?
this is apparently I borrowed it from my brother-in-law. They got it at San Francisco. It's like a kung fu kind of thing. But I used to do karate, but not anymore. But I figured it would be good for my presentation.
Did you have to use like a special kind of calligraphy pen, or did you just use like a...
I really honestly gotten really cool. I didn't know you could do like this.
So you're saying there's no like repetition or structure based on
Like some
certain
words,
strokes make. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, some words are very similar. Like one little extra line can make it
Are the words
word,
like,
another word.
Yeah, like are they related at all?
Yeah, like for shall, there's should I can I write it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
Can you use that word?
should I write it somewhere else?
Just do it.
Okay, so this is shall, and then if you want to write less, it's very similar. It's just like that. And then you put a line in it. It's kind of ugly. I'm sorry. But yeah. So if you add like another line, then it would make it another word. But they're very similar.
Okay.
What could you have done better? You don't look like Gasperecz.
Mark, we are recording.
Okay.
Why did I learn to paint?
Why did I? Why did not?
Why did you?
Why did I learn to paint?
Yes.
Well, my mentor, well, he was an artist in China, and he worked with pencil. It helped me learn the strokes better, how to ease up on the pencil, and how to apply more force when you're first starting out and then ease up. But it was only a one-time thing because, I don't know, he didn't bring any of this stuff anymore, but it was a good experience.
Do you speak Chinese? Like, did you speak Chinese going into this?
Yeah, I've always learned how to speak Chinese. Like, my parents talked to me in Chinese when I grew up. Like, I understand Chinese pretty well, and I can speak it a little bit, but writing was, I never went to Chinese school. Never went. Is this still the question period? Or is
Yeah.
this-
Yeah.
I don't know how to transition from this to the.
So what worked or what
What
didn't?
worked and what did not work?
Yeah.
What worked, what didn't work?
Annie, oh, you look
It's a really, really good story. I really like your whole senior project is really great. But just chill out a little bit. Like, we can tell you're really, really nervous. You're talking really fast, especially at the beginning. So just relax. You did a really good job. And yeah, you're fine.
Oh, sorry.
Basically the thing it said it was your nervous energy. It was kind of messing you up because you were saying good things. It's just that sometimes
I repeated myself.
you repeat yourself. One time you like rapid fired 6 hands. You're like and. So and I would say if you become really nervous, maybe like take a quick little pause in between sentences, collect yourself, then keep going so everything doesn't get jumbled. And you should go fine.
Only two?
So at the end, you should definitely be like, I did connect with my culture. Because you kind of like skirted around that, but I think you should definitely, because at the beginning you're like, oh, I wanted to connect with my culture. So at the end, you should definitively say, yes, I did connect with my culture, and so it was a success.
Yeah. So like I noticed a lot of times you kept saying like, but it was okay, or it was fine. Like if it was like on the paint one, for example, like you were like, oh, I learned how to paint. It was really messy, but it was okay. But if it's messy, it's messy. You know, it is what it is. Just say it. You don't have to. Just be more direct.
Yeah, well, that was partially what I was going to say. We're like, you and I have a similar problem where we know what we want to say, but it's very hard to exactly put it into words. Because I can tell that you have a lot of good technical knowledge about Chinese, but it was hard to. I don't know if you knew how to convey that. So I could tell that you learned a lot through your letters, and that's good. The other thing I wanted to say was that your slides, I felt, were a little plain, and that might just be the light blue background. It was kind of an odd choice, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't know, just rethink it. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm going to throw criticism, but I haven't put it there.
If you want to change the background, PowerPoint has a lot of like, if you just go to the design tab, I think, you can pick one of the little thingies and they work pretty good, I think.
I think like once you make these changes, it's gonna make it sound a lot more professional. Cause like you've got like professional content, and I think once you get your delivery, it's gonna be really good.
If you're gonna wear it again, please find out the name for your Chinese. In Chinese, that would be really interesting.
You kind of tap the podium while you're talking. So just be aware of that. There's a lot of
Criticism, you're